Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Member Spotlight series. Super excited to have elite member Elise on with us. She has lost over 100 pounds and counting, and this is definitely going to be an episode that is going to inspire y'all, and I'm so excited to get her on here and get her journey told. Yes, it is going to be so cool. Thank you so much for joining, guys. All right, thank you for wanting to be with me on a Tuesday evening. Hope you all are doing well. It's a little chilly right now in Alabama. That's why I'm repping the long sleeves today. But super excited to get Elise on. If this is your first time watching, go ahead and let me know in the comments. Let me know what plan you're on. If you're watching this on the replay, go ahead and write #replay. If you haven't already, give this video a big thumbs up and also share it in your feed to let more people know what we're doing. We're just going to wait another minute or two for Elise to get on, and I will bring her on. Hello to everybody joining. Hello. Love Alabama so far, Janet. It has been amazing. While we're waiting for Elise to join, a lot of y'all know that I am waiting to get on the 13 acres we have that we purchased here in Alabama. We've been waiting for our septic, and our septic finally got installed. Me and my wife are going to Tennessee on Thursday for a little vacation time, and we will be back on Monday, and Lord willing, we will be able to move our fifth wheel over to our property, and then it just goes up from there. Hello, Sherry from Florida. A couple people from Florida. Awesome, awesome. Vancouver. Awesome, awesome. Victoria, welcome to the iTrek Bites family. Hello, Elise. Seen you on here. Elise, if you go... Oh, there you are. Let me go ahead and add you myself. Receive an invite. Hello, Elise. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you good.
Okay, awesome.
Oh, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I'm super excited to have you on here.
Me too. I am excited. I am nervous, but yeah, thanks for inviting me to be on. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, no, awesome. Do not be nervous. We've been doing this. I think this is honestly going on like a year and a half that I've been doing these member spotlight interviews. So everybody that I've interviewed so far has been great. And I know that your story is one that's going to inspire. And I can't wait to let our members know exactly who you are, what you've been doing, how you've been doing it, and where you are in your journey. So Elise, why don't you start with introducing yourself?
Okay, so hi everybody. My name is Elise. I live in northern Indiana, near South Bend, and
Okay, stop right there.
Yes.
Stop right there. I was from Rensselaer, Indiana.
Okay, I knew you had been a Hoosier, right? And then you moved.
Yes, I just moved to Alabama.
Yeah.
Coach Stephanie, I don't know if you've ever met Coach Stephanie.
I've not.
She is by like the Lowell area.
Okay, yeah.
So, all right, another fellow Hoosier.
Awesome.
All right, keep going. Sorry,
No, that's okay.
I've been to South Bend too many times.
That's hilarious. No, so I live in Indiana with my husband. We have 3 kids. I have a daughter who will be 11 later this month. I have a 6-year-old son, and then I have a little pandemic baby, Harrison, who is a year and a half. He was born 7 days before the shutdown.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank God for that.
Yeah, I work full time. I work in marketing, like food retail marketing and social media. And I am 37 years old, I think. It's hard when you're a mom to remember all the birthdays.
I couldn't imagine having 3. Me and my wife have 2.
Yeah.
And it's a full house.
Yep, for sure. It's fun though.
Yes, definitely wouldn't trade it for nothing. You obviously in Indiana, it's been a little cold there lately. A lot of my brothers and sister-in-laws have been telling me about like cooler weather in the evening, and I'm like, oh, that's nice. And then the last couple of days we've been in like the 50s at night, and I'm like, nope, nope. I left Indiana.
Yeah, it's been pretty nice here. We were able to take a bike ride on Sunday, but I know those days are numbered and we're gonna
Numbered
be
very much.
enjoying the treadmill inside instead, which
Yes.
I'm glad to have one, but I'd rather be outside than inside.
Be outside. No, definitely, definitely.
Yeah,
I will, real quick before we get going.
sure.
I remember right before I moved to Alabama, this was March, and we had gotten that snow, um, like the end of March, beginning of April, and it took me at least a week for that snow to melt. We were on 10 acres with a mile-long driveway
Oh,
for us to get our fifth wheel down the driveway because we couldn't get it because we were like snowed in. So I'm going home for Thanksgiving, and I already told my family, I said, don't see me again until April or May. So.
yeah, winters can be a little rough, and you just never know what you're gonna get here. It could be spring one
Yeah.
day and summer and then winter later on in the week.
Oh, I
You
know.
know that. So,
I know.
yeah.
Yeah. So Elise, what got you started in your health and wellness journey?
I have always struggled with weight probably since elementary school. And I've gone through phases. I remember when I was 12 years old, the doctor said something to my mom, and I wound up going to a dietitian and I lost like, I don't know, 40 pounds. I was 12 and my mom and my grandma cooked for me. So I just ate whatever
Yeah.
was in front of me. I didn't really learn anything. But
Yeah.
I lost weight pretty easily and I kind of had a goal like that I wanted to be a certain size by a certain time for an occasion in our family. And then the occasion came and went, and I gained the weight back. And then kind of went on my way. And then in 2014, my best friend, Selena, had a lot of success with another program. And she and I
Hmm.
agreed, like, we're going to do this together and it's going to be awesome. And it was awesome. And I lost 60
Yeah.
pounds,
Love it.
but I was hungry all the time. I
Really?
was like obsessive about when I was going to eat next because I was always hungry and I was always trying to find like the biggest bang for my buck to fill me up.
Yeah.
And I also didn't exercise. I've never been an exerciser. I love like projects, and I think I'm an active person, but
Yeah.
I didn't exercise. And so I got to a point where I plateaued. I was like, you know what? I'm done. And I wound up getting pregnant shortly after I kind of got to that point. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to worry about that later. Um, Fast forward to 2020 or late 2019, I got pregnant with our third and found out around he was born in March, and in December I wound up getting like chronic hypertension during pregnancy, so high blood pressure. It was a
Okay.
really scary time. I've
Yeah.
never really had any health issues related to my weight. I've been super lucky, and I really think it
Hmm.
is luck because lots of people do have, lots of health issues
Yeah.
associated with their weight. But I had this terrible blood pressure. I was having to monitor it like 3 times a day, and it was just like, I think I have PTSD from that experience. It was awful.
That's rough.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was terrible. So I wound up having Harrison. I got preeclampsia at the end. I had an emergency C-section, I think a month earlier than my regular, scheduled due date. And the doctor had told me during the pregnancy, like, there is nothing you did. Like, this, do not feel bad about yourself right now. Like, this is just a thing
Yeah.
that happens. But you get to
Hmm.
decide when after you've had him, what's next. And so had this
Oh,
heart to
wow.
heart chat with him after I delivered and just found
Oh, hold on, Elise. I lost your volume. Oh, hold on.
out of control, and I am a
Okay.
little bit of a control freak. So I kind of latched on to this one thing in my life that I could control, and I went like whole hog.
Yeah. No. So I have interviewed so many women lately that are like, it's after a pregnancy or a pregnancy scare or something that happened really got them to realize that they want to be there for their family, like afterwards. And No, I completely understand because when our son was born, Easton, he's 7, gonna be almost 8. The cord was wrapped around his neck,
Mm,
and like, luckily, we were able to deliver him normally. Like, she was able to like undo it, but just that right there was like, oh my gosh, just in a split second, something could happen to my wife. What's gonna, and at
yeah,
that time, I was at my heaviest and truly thought that I was like, a simple scare like that you don't think is ever gonna happen can happen to anybody. It doesn't have to
absolutely.
be just like with pregnancy. It can be anything in your life. You can wake up one day and you think you're perfectly fine, and the next day you wake up and you've had a heart attack. And then they're like, the signs have been there for the last 5 years. Haven't you noticed that? All that stuff. So that's crazy. But I'm very thankful that you were able to have that heart to heart and figure out like, what do I want to do to be able to go forward,
Yeah,
and kudos to
yeah.
you for just doing it and getting it out there. So once you started with your friend, and then you had your last born, what then was going on?
In between those two times, you mean?
No, I mean like after. So you started with your friend, and then you had your child. Like what else?
As far as like, how I got back on the program, I really started, well, number one, I started exercising, which is
Yeah,
one of those things I was like, oh, I don't want to do this, but I will tell
I
you,
don't. Who says they love to exercise? I'm sorry, I have a hard time believing. Hard time.
I agree. I think, but I do think that that has really helped me, um, to keep from plateauing. I'm not going to say it hasn't been slow, but it has been
Yeah.
steady. And I really do credit that to the activity that I've had. So, I had a C-section, and this is my
Mhm.
third C-section. Every time I've had one, I've lost like 30 pounds like that. I'm like, okay, Elise, you're done. You will never get a
Yeah.
free 30 pounds again. Let's just keep going. So I would
Yeah.
say about 6 weeks after, that's when I had my heart to heart with my doctor, and some of my friends were using eye track bites. I was like, I'm gonna try it. I started off on the plan, and I'm bad at the names of them, but I was on the one where it was like mainly fruits and vegetables were 0 bites.
So probably like carb
I think
conscience.
so.
Yeah.
And did really well with that, and was on that for almost a year. Meanwhile, my husband bought me an Apple Watch for Mother's Day,
Uh-huh.
and that was exactly what I needed. So I started out walking, and we live in a subdivision where it's like a half mile around the block, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I started out walking about 2 miles a day, and then in the summer started swimming. This was March of 20, or this was 2020 summer. And then I slowly
Yeah.
started adding more things. So I did a 30-day yoga challenge, that took me 90 days. Just saying, just being honest, but I did finish the challenge.
Yeah.
And then for my birthday, my husband is a really good gift giver, and he got me a bike, for my past birthday this last August. And so I guess all that
Wow.
to say, I've been able to find exercise that I enjoy. We were
Yeah.
gifted by a friend a secondhand bike trailer that we could take the baby
Mhm.
around the block in, and just being able to incorporate the whole family into those activities has really made a difference.
No, that's awesome. And that's awesome that I love what you just said, that you figured out what was something you loved or something you like to do. Because I feel like so many of us, we get that gym membership or we buy this or buy that or be like, this is it. And then you do it for a week or two. And then you're like, I just really do not like it. I don't want to do it. And then you feel like you are a failure. You gave up. But my thing is, and like you're a testament of it, is like, find something you love, even if it's as simple as walking around your block,
Yeah.
a couple times. And if that's truly what you enjoy, you love to listen to a podcast, put it in your ears, get those steps in. And if that's all you want to do, that's all you have to do.
Yes, and find a
Like,
buddy. My neighbor, Diane, who I think is watching tonight, she was my COVID buddy. Like throughout the whole pandemic, we would walk, and it was like group therapy for each other. We do our 2 miles
yeah,
every night, and that definitely made a difference. I will say, at around Christmas time last year, I was doing the free program, and I decided to
yes,
buy myself for Christmas the paid program. I really wanted to be able to use the Apple Watch and get it synced. I also wanted the restaurant,
yeah,
be able to track those bites. And I wanted to try one of the paid plans. So I switched to Better Balance. And the reason I did that, I know so many people, and they talk on the live and on the podcast, they talk about this needing to be sustainable. And I knew
Yeah.
that like I needed some protein in my life that I wasn't going to have to feel guilty about. And
Yes.
so I wanted to be able to have the eggs and the chicken and the, the fish, and just build that into my healthy eating. So that's where I'm at right now. And I've really enjoyed it, and I'm not hungry all the time, which is, that's
Yeah.
how I know that like I can do this forever. I do think that tracking is just going to have to be a part of my life, because I I at this point I don't trust myself enough to just stop tracking. I
Yeah.
try to do the math in my head, and I'm really bad at math. So I just need a calculator to keep me accountable.
And you know what? There is nothing wrong with that. I actually just had a meeting last week with our I Took Bites head coach, Lisa. And I always talk to her about like maintenance, because I've been there before and completely failed. And I'm like, what did I do wrong? And she has told me from so many of our members, just even before me with I Took Bites, was just like, that app is still there. Like the app is still there.
Mm-hmm.
You might go a couple weeks without using it, but then you know that you have that to start tracking again to see, am I really doing what I need to be doing? How am I, all that stuff. And it's really one of them where it's like, does it stink to think sometimes that some people have said, I think tracking might be what I need to do for the long haul. But there's nothing wrong with that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Just the same way, if you are strong enough and you find that you don't need to track and you can consistently keep your weight off, like kudos to you too. There's no perfect journey.
For sure.
No
I
perfect.
agree completely.
So my next question for you, Elise, is I'm very curious to know, carb conscious, which is what I lost all my weight on before I tragically failed, and I'm on my second journey. You're on Better Balance now. How that is totally different. Like that's a 180-degree spin of where you were at before. First of all, how long did it take you to get used to it? Because you had to get used to it, or at least I'm
Yeah.
thinking you did. And then what made you, besides like the protein, what 100% made you be like, I can do this. I'm switching. This is the plan for me. I'm going to do it.
Yeah. I would say that it took me probably, well, along with transitioning to a new eating plan, I also transitioned jobs. And so I went
Oh,
from, like a lot of people, I went from working in an office to working from home. So trying to
yeah.
figure out like, okay, do I meal plan? Do I not meal plan? How is this going to work in a way that I can actually pull it off? And so I kind of tried to play around a little bit with some recipes and how much time I could really devote to meal planning. I found some snacks and some breakfast that I really like. For example, like
Yeah.
I was kind of skeptical about overnight oats. Um, but I was able to find a recipe that I liked, that I felt like I could actually use and it wouldn't feel like a splurge.
Yeah.
Because I really try to save up the majority of my points for the evening. So
Oh,
that
yeah.
I can, like,
Dinner
and
with
I know
family.
I've
Yeah.
heard you say it before too, like you want to be able to eat dinner with your family. I may have some additional, like some extra veggies on the side, but I want to be able to not
Yeah.
send my kids to therapy later because they saw mommy eat, completely different than
Oh my,
everybody else.
you are talking it up tonight, because that is so true. And I've said that before, just like you said. Like, the first day me and my wife heard my son say, well, how many points is that? Or how many bites is that? Like, he was like 6 years old. Why? Because we have said that so many times,
Mm-hmm.
or scanning or this and that, like figuring out what it is, to where it's like, we don't, like, I want my kids to know. I don't want my kids to have to go through like you did at 12 years old, sitting in the doctor's office saying, you need to lose weight, send you to a dietitian. Like, we as parents are trying to do the best we can for our children, but that's for us to do, not
Yeah.
our 5-year-old to be like, oh, we need to be tracking your calories, doing this and doing
Yeah.
that. You know what I
It's
mean?
hard. It's hard to find a balance. I got my daughter hooked on overnight oats. At first, I told her that it was edible cookie dough for breakfast.
Uh,
She's like,
that's
"Oh,"
actually, to tell you the truth, I could see that.
she's like, "This is pretty good." So we played around with a few different recipes. For a while, I was doing a lot of Greek yogurt, making like, I think it's a cup of Greek yogurt with a tablespoon of instant sugar-free pudding and then some fresh fruit.
Okay.
And then sometimes I would
Yeah.
do like multi-grain Cheerios because I found myself, again, getting used to working from home, trying to figure out how to hit the off switch of the snacking. And that was something that filled me up. I haven't had to do that in a long time, because I have kind of learned how to structure my meals so that I feel full. But it's a process.
Yeah.
And I was doing too, like the full-fledged Sunday meal prep where I would make like muffins, this great recipe I found of 1 point muffins or 1 bite muffins, and I could have two.
Yeah.
But like I can't do that every Sunday. So, I go back and forth between lots of different recipes. I really think you have to find what works for you and try not to feel guilty about it. I still struggle so much with like just guilt because I've been so strong and I don't want to lose it. And I just have to remind myself like that yesterday was yesterday, today is
Yes.
today. It's not a
Yes.
wagon we're getting off and on. It's just each day is its own thing. And it's hard. I think
Ooh. All right, hold on, guys. She should come back.
Can you see me?
Are you there, Elise?
I'm here.
Yes. Yes.
Can you see me?
Yes. Okay. Yep, I can hear. It just said there's a little bit of low quality connection, is what it says. I keep looking at my computer. Oh, you went away. Okay, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Elise, are you there? All right, guys, technical difficulties. 1 second. 1 second. This happens all the time. Oh, Elise, there is your name, but I can't add you in. 1 second, guys. So weird. Yes, Elise, it is okay. Let me see. Hey, Elise, if you are on here still, which I think you are, on the bottom right-hand corner, there should be a place to say, like, click to join, ask to join the live. So sorry, guys. Technical difficulties at its finest. Oh, there you are, Elise. Let me add you. Add. No worries at all. All right, there you go. No worries. Elise, we have technical difficulties with Facebook every week.
Okay. Can you
Can
see?
you hear
Are we
me?
good? Yeah.
Yes, we're good. We have technical difficulties with Facebook every week.
Okay.
Like, I don't know what it
It's
is.
very
So.
scary.
No. Okay. So you have shown us that not only did you lose weight during the pandemic, number one, during COVID. Number two, you showed us that you were able to find an exercise regimen, routine that you loved and enjoyed. Walking, you got the bike, Apple Watch, all that stuff. And then you've also proven that you can go from one plan to another and still have success. That's like the 3-step formula to like weight loss goals. You know what I mean?
Yay!
Like that's journey goals right there. So my last thing I want to ask you before I get to my last two questions I always do with all my members is you before said that you were always hungry. So what do you think the reason for that was way back then to like how you are now, how you've overcame it or how you figured out, was it just the plan? You needed that plan to get more free bite foods to keep you fuller longer? Were you not eating enough protein, all that?
Yeah, it was so long ago now. It's hard for me to remember, but I think that a lot of times I would try to save up so much of my weeklies and then just like gorge if we went somewhere special. I
Yeah.
also think I did not do a good job of like filling up on fruits and vegetables. I might have like a banana every day, but I was not just really choosing like now I'll go to a restaurant and instead of asking for fries, I'll ask for like double veggies or a fruit plate. And so using those free zero bite
Yeah.
things to really fill me up. And I remember somebody, and I don't remember who, um, oh gosh, now I'm gonna forget what I was gonna say. One of the people on the podcast talked about how um you don't have to like save, like I think it was talking about the holidays actually. Like if you're gonna save those points for something that really matters, like grandma's best recipe stuffing that you only get once a year. Like you can have so many things anytime, but really prioritize your bites.
Yeah.
And I think that that has made a difference. So if we go out to eat on a special date, I try. I don't always succeed, but I try to just enjoy it and know that tomorrow is a new day. And like I love food. And I want to try everything. I'm a big foodie. Um, but like you have to find the balance and choose what what's the most important as far as what you're going to eat,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
That totally makes sense. That totally makes sense because, you know, you might be like me and we go out every Friday night with the kids. You know, that's like the one night a week that we go out and go to a restaurant, whether it's Mexican food, whether it's pizza, anything like that. And, you know, when you start treating things like that on, I do this every week. I get Mexican food, you know, twice or three times a month. Like it's not really a special occasion anymore. Like it is taking my son out to his birthday
Hmm.
and going and getting ice cream afterwards. You know, that's only going to happen once a year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To know that even if I chose not to track that day or I went way over my bites, it's a special occasion and it's like I always say, memories over macros. You're
Yeah,
never gonna get
that's
those memories
true.
back.
That's true.
Like you're not gonna get that time
Yeah.
back, but you are gonna have the cajillion, it feels like, meals that you're gonna have throughout the next year until that time happens again. So I love how you said that because, you know, there's different options that we can do if it's not wanting to treat it like a special occasion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think too, like, okay, is fried chicken really worth it to me? I don't know. Like, I think just,
Yeah.
really measuring it that way, um, makes a big difference in how you think through those point decisions.
Yeah, because you know, with Thanksgiving coming, are you going to load up on all the veggies and the proteins and all that stuff and get full and then be like, you know what, I am going to have a slice of banana pudding or a thing of banana pudding because that is my aunt's amazing dish. You know what I mean?
Right.
That I'm only going to get on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then
Instead of
give
being
those
like,
leftovers away. Like, make someone take them
yeah.
away because otherwise she will want to eat all the banana pudding.
Yes, yes, yes. So, Elise, this has been awesome. I have two last questions for you. I always ask our members at our interview. Number one, Elise, with where you are now, what is something you wish that you would have knew when you first started your journey?
Oh gosh. Um, I wish I would have known. I mean, if thinking back in 2014, I wish I would have told myself to keep going and to find something that was more sustainable. Because I
Yeah,
was so close. I mean, I've gotten further, I'm like 35 pounds lighter than I was at my lowest at that point. But I wish I would have
yeah.
just told myself, like, to be patient and to
Hmm.
not be so hard on myself and to not give up. Because I had gained all that weight back like so many people do, and then I lost all that weight. But I think just try so hard not to give in to all of that guilt. I think I in my life as a mom of three, like there is always something to feel guilty about. I mean, I could go on and I don't need one more thing to feel bad about. Like I'm doing the best I can. I'll have a better day
Yeah,
tomorrow.
yeah. Love that. Love that. So, pretty much, it's not a race, it's a journey.
It
So
is.
just
It is.
don't give up, you
Yes.
know? And I think about that too with me back in 2016 when I got down to goal and just being like, I wish back then I would have been like, who cares if it would have took me 5 years to continue on this journey to
Yeah.
get there again? Like, it's not failure.
It's not.
Failure's only when you give
Yeah,
up.
and you know what?
Failure's only when you don't come back.
Totally.
You know, if I see you tomorrow and then I don't see you again for the rest of my life because you just didn't, you know, you got off your journey and all that stuff, like, or I did, like, that's when I can say that I failed. Like, when you don't see me anymore, at least because I've given up and I'm done. I'm never doing it again. I might have gave up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's defeat a little bit. But still having the app, still logging in, taking breaks, like it's all a part of the journey.
Yeah. And maybe
And
it had to be this way. Like
yeah,
maybe you wouldn't be where you are today if you would have decided differently, so many years ago. And I really, like I said, like I was not in a sustainable place back then. I don't know if I learned really anything during the time. I learned how to be skinnier and be hungry all the time, but you can't sustain that. So
I love that you said that too. Learning. It's about learning. I had Mary Bates on here last week, which was a phenomenal interview.
she was.
If
It was
anybody listening to this,
excellent.
it was amazing. I learned so much, like myself, even as the community manager. Like I'm like I've been with iTruck Vice for years, and it opened my eyes to a lot of things. And it is one of the things that she said. Like it, she had to learn it. She had to comprehend what she was doing, not just everything has a bite value, everything has a point value.
Mm-hmm.
Like we need to understand like how much do we need to be eating? What quality of foods do we need? What is this food going to do for my body? How is it going to make me feel?
For sure.
Loved it. So last question, at least before we get off, is there is, like I always say, because you've listened to the podcast so many times, there's going to be that one person that is listening to this podcast or that's watching this replay that is like, I wish I could do it. I'm so ready to start my journey. What do you want to tell that person to start?
I was thinking about this because I knew you would ask this, and I think you have to find your why. And my why is different than your why. And so I think
Yes.
you have to decide what is the reason you're doing that and let that motivate you. So for me, it started out with wanting to be healthier and be able to, little goals starting out. And then you kind of look back and oh my gosh, like I can run. Like I didn't know I could run.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to do things that are more active. And I think as you move forward, your goals, you may have one large end goal, but your goals may change and your celebrations change too. I think your non-scale victories are so important. But you have
Yeah.
to, and later those become well, I'm doing this because
You're,
I want, like to not have a double chin or whatever, but your big reasons are the ones that are gonna maybe keep you accountable long term. And
yeah.
whatever that is, it's gonna be different for everybody. So just take the step. It's one day at a time. Start
Yeah.
tracking. I think too, just starting tracking and being honest is a huge thing,
Uh-huh.
just so you're aware of the portions you're actually putting in your body, just to see like, okay, what am I really doing? And kind of taking it from there. Okay, now what? Now am I gonna do
Yeah.
less bites? Am I gonna, you know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
slow steps are
No,
okay
love
because
it.
you're still moving forward.
Yeah. Your interview has been amazing. Thank you so much, Elise.
Thanks.
Like inspiring. I every time I do this every week, it inspires me to keep going. But then also lets all of our members know that like if you can do it, they can do it, and that's why I always ask that question at the very end because you could have been on this journey for 12 years and taken some time off, but you're listening and you're like, I'm ready to get back going. Like they needed to hear
Oh
that.
my
They
gosh,
needed to
for
hear
sure.
what was your why back then? What's your why now? Your
Yeah.
why can change. There was a lady, an iTruck Bites member. Um, like I said, I've been doing this, I think, like almost a year and a half now. She was one of my very first people I interviewed. Um, Something that stuck with me that she said was the reason how she knew that this was going to be a sustainable lifestyle for her is because when she opened the app for the first time, she didn't clean out her cupboards. She didn't clean out her fridge. She didn't do nothing besides just say, this is what I have. how can I make this work on
That's
my plan?
awesome.
And
Yeah.
that right there showed her, I didn't need all the fancy equipment. I didn't need all the fancy food. If all I had was bread and peanut butter and jelly, I know how much peanut butter I can have, how much jelly I can have, to make it all work. And she has lost all of her weight to goal, and she still is, because I follow her on Instagram.
That's
And it's just,
incredible.
that to me, with all these meetings, there's always something that we get out of it. And
Yeah.
definitely that was one of them that stuck with me. And yours is just knowing that you don't have to feel hungry anymore. You figured it out. You know what I mean? And there's so many people that are watching and listening that haven't been able to figure that out. They feel like hunger is the way that I feel like I'm going to get skinny. Or, we see all the times, like way back in the day on movies and stuff where, it was always just a comedy, but they were just like, I remember one was, hunger is just a feeling.
Yeah.
You need to be feeling that way to be skinny, all this stuff. And it's like, that's not true. We don't have to be hungry. And the sooner we realize that, the sooner it is going to be a lifestyle.
Yeah. 100%.
So love that, Elise. Thank you so much for joining me. This will be on the podcast on Friday, so you will have to listen to it.
I will. I
so
love podcasts.
Yes, I love it
Especially the
too,
one.
and I'm so excited. Yes, I'm so excited that I got to meet you. I've talked to you for the last couple of weeks, but really this brought me closer to you, and I'm so glad to call you friend. And we have another person in the iTribe Rights community, and I'm always here if you need anything.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Good luck, everybody. You can do this. If I can, you can. And so many people have that story. So definitely don't give up.
Yes. Thank you so much, Elise. You take care, okay?
Thanks. See ya.
Yeah, bye. All right, guys, that was another amazing episode of the Member Spotlight series with Elise. She's lost over 100 and something pounds. That was so enjoyable to watch, and I'm so excited that that's going to be on the podcast on Friday. If you guys didn't know, we do this every single week, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time over here on our Facebook Live events, and we publish them every week on the iTribe Bites podcast on Friday. If you haven't followed the iTribe Bites podcast, it's available on all podcasting platforms as well as Apple, Spotify, and we just released it on Facebook. You don't even have to go to any of those other ones. Head on over to our iTribe Bites Facebook page, click on the podcast tab, and all our podcast episodes are there. I will see you guys next Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time.